What's up, A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Live, and the Titans spoiled the Jags season, sending them home to Duval County with a big fat loss and another AFC South team at home for the playoffs. The Tennessee Titans win 28-20 is the final score. What a performance on potentially the last game ever from Derrick Henry inside Nissan Stadium as a Tennessee Titan. And a couple of big stops by this makeshift Titans defense late in that game to hold tight for a 28-20 win. The Titans finish at 6-11, but the Jags go home with no playoffs after being the ultimate favorite this season in the AFC South. And so going to get this thing rocking and rolling here from Acme Feed and Seed up on the rooftop. Come join us if you're walking out of Nissan Stadium celebrating. And there's a lot of Jags fans that were here earlier today that are going to be sad Jags fans on their way back home. Jack, welcome in. I'm Austin Stanley, Jack Gentry of the Tighten Up Podcast here for A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Live. Tell the people what they got to do on Facebook and YouTube before we get rolling.
Yeah, already a big crowd filing in here, and I see all of y'all, going through the emotions of the win and, already having great discussions in the chat. What we want to do is if we're watching on Facebook, I remind you to like the show, like it. We liked what we saw on the field today. Help us and like the show. We'll build the audience. We'll grow the audience. We're going to hear from everybody today. In order to do that, we need everyone on Facebook that is watching to share it to their Titans Facebook groups. There's going to be some fun posts in there today that I can't wait to read when I get home. Let's share the show to your Titans Facebook groups. If you're watching on YouTube, tap the bell icon at the top of your screen and turn those notifications on. You do not want to miss a thing. These post-game press conferences are going to maybe be even more entertaining than that win just was. So you don't want to miss an update from A to Z Sports. Turn your notifications on YouTube. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link around to your Titans text groups. Any Titans fan you know that you want to watch this show with, bring them on in here. The door's always open on our end. Austin, it's time to break this thing down. Let's get the show on the road.
Yep, let's get it going officially, and congrats to the Bills fans walking out of Acme as the Buffalo Bills officially clinch a playoff spot with the Titans beating the Jags. But to get it going officially, welcome into A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Live here at Acme Feed and Seed on the rooftop with great game day specials with Spirited Hive and Ranch Water. Want to give another shout out to all of our great partners this Titan Game Day season, as this is the last time we go live for Titan Game Day Live with our friends at X Golf Nashville, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee, the Mint Gaming Hall. We just hit a bingo earlier today, themintgaminghall.com, BetMGM, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, Jim Chimney, Adventure Science Center, and Jarrett HVAC and Plumbing. This is the post-game show presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Jack, I don't think we expected this whatsoever from the Tennessee Titans. They come out and stun the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I thought came in here sloppy, unprepared. Like the Jags were prepared to face a Titans team that would lay down and allow Jacksonville to win the AFC South. No. Derrick Henry goes for $150 and a touchdown, has a big 60-plus yard run that looked like vintage King Henry on potentially his last day. Jack, how you feeling?
Man, Derrick Henry made an already difficult decision that much tougher by exploding today and doing what he does best, running rampant on the Jaguars defense. We now know where the Titans are going to pick in the draft with this Jets result coming in here any minute. So, it's a fun win, but really the offseason starts now. But I want to take time to enjoy this one because when have the Titans looked like that this season? Never. It was an awesome showing by Tim Kelly in the first half. Now, not going to lie, I did start to sweat a little bit in the second half after that Tannehill interception. But let's talk about this defense for 1 second. To stand up like that on the goal line on a 4th and 1 situation where the Jags absolutely had to have it, and your defense, who's beat up, who's banged up, who's lost their run stopper in the middle of their defense, and Jeffrey Simmons, Tierre Tart no longer plays there. For them to stop the Jags on the 1 yard line, that was an incredible display of heart. And there were tweets rolling in from all kinds of national reporters that, somebody forgot to tell the Titans that they didn't have to win it. They had nothing to play for today. The Jags needed this one. But the Titans were the team that looked like they were the most hungry out there today.
I don't know what was going on with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence looked really bad, and I don't think his shoulder was bothering him because it looked like he was able to make throws, run, stretch out on the goal line. Apparently, he's got Roger McCreary-length arms, and he couldn't get there to cross the plane on that. But to go back to that stop, Sean Murphy-Bunting made a really physical tackle to keep the receiver, I believe it was Zay Jones, out of the end zone on second down. That created a third down where Lawrence play action pass, threw it out of bounds before the fourth down quarterback sneak and reach came short too. But Sean Murphy-Bunting gets toasted a lot. He get called for penalties a lot. He got called for a penalty on that drive before then with a holding call that gave the Jags new life on a third down conversion. But Sean Murphy-Bunting showed up in some big moments. And I think a lot of Titans players today, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Derrick Henry, and maybe some other expiring contracts, proved themselves that, hey, maybe they should be back in two-toe blue next year. But we can get to that a lot later. But my goodness, I thought the level of inspired play the Titans played for today, night and day, complete 180 from what you and Sam talked about in a post-game show exactly 1 week ago when they get throttled by the Texans.
Yeah, and for you Titans fans that are upset with the win because of the draft pick, you're not hurt by it. And I wish some of y'all were here right now because the amount of sad Jaguars fan making that walk across the pedestrian bridge right now, it warms my heart, Austin. I love to see that. And you know what? It's a massive day. There are a lot of teams around the NFL that are really happy the Titans won today, but I think the happiest person in that building has to be Mike Vrabel. He's heard everything this week. There have been plenty of distractions, but for this team to show up and look focused was I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, and there were a lot of Jags fans when Jack and I were driving to downtown. A lot of Jags fans yelling Duval. They had signs saying Jacksonville or Duval owns the AFC South.
Delusional.
Yeah.
Delusional County, not Duval County.
Yeah. Delusional County, Florida, for where the Jacksonville Jaguars come from. And look, it's something that we don't know how it's going to play out in the afternoon slate of games. But Jack, the Jets are going to beat the New England Patriots. There's 17 seconds left. That clock is ticking, and the Jets are up 17-3. So the Tennessee Titans will stay with a number 7 overall pick. Now, we don't know how high they could have climbed.
We'll learn later.
Yes, because I'll show the graphics that we had here for our pregame show on how the Titans could get, to the number 4 overall pick. Obviously, the Titans need to lose. The Chargers would need to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are sitting just about everybody. The Cardinals need to beat the Seahawks, and the Giants would need to beat the Eagles, and the Eagles might not be playing for much of anything. That's how the Titans could have climbed from 7 up to 4 potentially if those outcomes came out. But the fact that the Titans add a 6th win, the Jets add a 7th, mean the Titans will stick right there, Jack, at 7th overall. So like you said earlier, no harm, no foul. You get a win. You keep Jacksonville at home. C.J. Stroud wins the AFC South as a rookie. D'Amico Ryans as a rookie head coach. And the Houston Texans get that 4 seed to host the Browns. But Jacksonville, the arrogance that fan base has had for the last 365 days is now, poof, gone, just like that.
Yeah. And, we talked about this week on the Tighten Up podcast. What a loss does for Jacksonville. Internally, there's so many questions going on in that building right now about Trevor Lawrence, about Doug Peterson, and the Titans are the reason for that. So, maybe they don't do it this season. And look, the Titans don't have a clean yard either. They've got some things to clean up this offseason.
Yep.
But the Jaguars right now, they started 8-3, Austin. The Titans went 7-3 to start the season last year and blew it. Jags did them one better with 8-3 and collapsed. And the Jags learned a fatal mistake as well this season, not to mess with the terrible towel.
Yeah. Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah. Early in the season, the Jags were stomping around, waving on the terrible towel. And
the terrible towel curse strikes again. So, all right, Jack, let's go ahead. We got a big audience in here. If you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube, please hit that like button on the show. Hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously by having a bigger audience that helps all Titans communities be better and have a lot more fun, as this offseason for the Titans is not going to be any less crazy on the show here. But apparently Jack's mic is having an issue. I think I know how to fix it myself. So give me a second.
Yeah, and while Austin's fixing the mic, I want to see in the comments here. I want to see how many people are disappointed with this win because, I understand the drafting, but to me, this win is a little bit bigger than that. And this Titans team needed one of these so badly. We're talking about getting swept for the first time in the division since 1982.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't even a twinkle in my mother's eye at that point, So it's a big win for just. And we're not. Mike Vrabel will tell you they're not in it for moral victories.
No.
But I do think that this does a lot for this group moving forward and Titans fans in general to head into the offseason, and you're still gonna have a sour taste, but I think today, and even if it's only for the next 24 hours, this feels really good.
Will Dotson says he's on his way. I hope more people are on their way to Acme because we had a great crowd this morning pregame, and now hoping more Titans fans are going to head over here to celebrate an end-of-season victory for the Tennessee Titans. So let's ask the question, Jack. What's one word to describe this Titans win over Jacksonville? What is one word to describe this Titans win over the Jacksonville Jaguars? And there's a lot of good words you can absolutely use right here. But first, I want to thank our great friend at AmandaJGentry.com, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, that is where you should turn for any of your law needs. Amanda J. and her team, she's practiced in Tennessee family and criminal courts in over 35 counties in Middle Tennessee as a Middle Tennessee trial lawyer. And her specialty, her passion, father's rights, protecting your fundamental rights, your constitutional rights to be a father to your children. Her team and Amanda J. Gentry will fight to protect your constitutional rights. So know your rights and go trust in Amanda J. Gentry and her team. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, no relations to Jack Gentry,
no.
But also hit him up, AmandaJGentry.com. Jack, tons of comments already. About 200. So go ahead. One word to describe the Titans win over the Jags. 28-20 the final score in this season-ending victory.
Derek on YouTube starts us off with exciting. Dylan says nostalgic. That did feel like a little throwback win right there. Stephen King says King. Cathartic from Mike. Henry from Brandon. We've got Bold and Bearded checking in with awesome. David Allen, 3 letters, fun. F-U-N, euphoria. I like that word from Grim Jim. Henry, off season. Not even a word, just an emotion. I love that. A couple of paybacks here from Kyle and B-Birds. Meaningless from Clayton. Satisfying from Dylan. Let's see. King, abso-freaking-lutely from Hill. Bittersweet. King, finally. Vengeance, here we go. Vengeance from Rocky Top. And Revenge from Troy.
Nice.
I love it. Hilarious from Commander. Unnecessary. Payback. O-line. Uplifted. The O-line looked great today. They uplifted Derrick Henry.
Great.
They look good.
Better.
They looked okay.
It looked better than previous. I'm not going to label them great. Ryan Tannehill was Tannehill. He was sacked twice. I don't know why.
You take that though. And Derrick Henry had room to run. Tajay Spears as well.
I feel like he was sacked more than 2 times. I don't know.
He certainly was under pressure more than just 2 times.
Sure.
Henry continuing in the chat with Brandon, relieved. More Henry. So Henry's gonna look at mocking Duval here from Colin. I'm a big fan of mocking Duval. King, nice, refreshing effort. Trying to get to as many of you guys as I can, but Austin, there was one word that I agreed with, and I came into this game thinking that I would use this word if things played right. I'll try and find it back in the chat here, but for me, my answer, it's revenge. The Jaguars did this to you last season, and even with Josh Dobbs, and hope is not necessarily as high last season with how the injuries played out, and how the Titans looked down the stretch. That loss hurt, man. That loss hurt for weeks. That loss hurt in the playoffs watching other teams play. Jaguars fans are going to be going through those emotions today. And you know what? I bet that's part of the reason why the Titans showed up looking the way they did today. Is because those guys that were in that locker room last year knew just how bad this one stings if you can't win the winner go home game. And for me, today was all about revenge for the Titans.
Yeah, and Jason Martinez is complaining that you only read 12 YouTube comments before a Facebook comment. Well, Jason, there are 3 times as many people watching on YouTube than Facebook. So there are 3 times as many comments. So stop we're not picking between YouTube and Facebook for that. So, all right, my one word, revenge is great. That's a factor that I think a lot of people are fair to feel right now because of the joy of Titans fans getting to send the cocky kids in Jacksonville home when they expected to waltz through this division this year is fun to watch because I was annoyed by the Jags fans in downtown this morning. They weren't being rude. They were just being the spoiled brat that thinks they earned something but actually hadn't yet. They've just been benefiting off of other people's struggles. And that's what the Jags were for the most part of this season and last season when they won the division. And then they won a playoff game because Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in the first half and Brandon Staley's now fired and they came back and beat the Chargers. But my one word is vintage because I don't know what's going to happen next. I truly have no idea what's going to happen beyond today for this Tennessee Titans organization. There's likeliness that Ryan Tannehill is gone. He helped you win a game today with some great plays. Yeah, threw a pick, sure, but Ryan Tannehill was more vintage Tannehill. Derrick Henry, obviously, his contract is up. What happens with his future goes out with a $150+ and a touchdown. A vintage Derrick Henry, 69-yard run, got stopped short, but great game from Derrick Henry. And Mike Vrabel. There's a lot of rumors around Mike Vrabel on if the Titans are going to trade him to New England. Is he unhappy here? Is there a rift between he and Rand Carthon? I don't know what's true, but I don't know what to expect either. So today was a vintage win for the Tennessee Titans, and it's very likely, more likely than not, that you're not going to ever see again the triumvirate of Vrabel, Tannehill, and Henry combine for a Titans victory ever again. You know, the 3 of them being back, 0.01% chance. One of those 3 is not going to be here anymore.
And, I'm really happy with the win, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we're not going to see Tannehill anymore. And some of the people in the chat are going to be sour about it, but Tannehill led this team to so many great comebacks and so many great seasons. And, he could have done more in the playoffs, sure, but I'm glad that he and Derrick Henry, if it happens, we don't know for sure if it'll happen. In the running back market, you really never know how much you're worth until you're out there.
Right.
So we'll see how that plays out, but I'm glad that if it was those two players last time playing here, they went out on a high note. I mean, the offense was humming today. And at halftime, we talked about, I said, great offensive coordinators know how to score on the first drive of the game and the first drive of the second half. Tim Kelly and the Titans did both.
Yeah.
That was very promising to me. And there's just so many positives to take away from this one performance. And maybe I'm being, too overly excited about it. But that's just because I've been starving, Austin. I've been starving for a game like this.
Yeah. Look, there's Matt on Facebook says still can't get over 30 points. Yeah, look, that's okay. The Titans go 2 straight seasons failing to get over 30 points. They feel like they're capped. They hit their head on the ceiling at 28 a few different times this season and did not hit 28 points last season. And Kendrell says, keep Henry and Spears, period. And that moment, if it was I guess it was the third quarter, maybe it was late first half, where I was like, this is it was late first half, the perfect combination of Tajay Spears and Derrick Henry and what it can be as a dynamic duo. And we haven't seen enough of it because the offensive line wasn't allowing it to happen. And it was just getting shoved backwards over and over and over. But you start to think, daydream, try to think up what could be, put that mental image in your head of the future of these 2 running backs doing this next season. And what does that look like? But the more important thing is, how much does it cost?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. And I think Titans fans have an interesting perspective on what to do at running back because the way the Titans operate, they've always had a good running back. Even in their down years, they've had 1,000-yard rushers.
Except for Bishop Sankey and Sean Green.
Sure, but those are the days we like to forget.
And Dexter McCluster.
But
Javon Ringer.
Okay, we get it. But the point is, I feel like Titans fans have this skewed opinion because it feels like the Titans every single season have a bell cow type.
Darius Raynaud.
Okay, we're getting a little too deep.
They're all from the same era.
I know. But you get my point. Overall, the Titans have had more good running backs than bad, and it feels like they've always had a bell cow guy that can take 20 carries and be efficient. Tajay Spears, probably not that guy, but in the way the NFL works today, there aren't many of those guys in general. So heading into next season, I think you can keep both. I think you should keep both. And you just got to figure out how you want to run the football and how you want to involve Tajay Spears, because it's not going to be 20 touches or 15 carries, but it's touches, whether it's catching the ball out of the backfield or running the football. I mean, it's so explosive every time you watch him today. Just 3 carries, but had 25 yards. More importantly, 3 catches for 41 yards and that touchdown he scored.
And 2 touchdowns for Tajay.
And he's more effective when Henry's out there with him.
How many touches did Derrick Henry have today? 19, not even 20. That's the Titans could have been better in the second half by extending drives. They didn't have a lot of drives that had a bunch of plays stacked up. Obviously, when Derrick Henry has a 69-yard run, you don't have that many plays to cover the yards on that drive. But I still think you're seeing what the blueprint could be of Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. Today, when those 2 guys combined for well over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, obviously that's what they would have dreamed to have for the last 17 games. But it didn't happen that way because of the offensive line.
No, you're right. And it's impossible to work efficiently on offense behind a group of 5 guys that can't do anything right. Today, they did more good than bad. For that, we are thankful. But can you put together a group next year of 5 dudes who haven't played together before? Because no matter what happens on that offensive line, there's going to be a group of players that haven't played together yet. So find the right guy in the draft if that's what you want to do. Find a guy in free agency that's maybe a little cheaper option. Maybe a guard would work. And piece it together there, because, man, am I excited about what this offense can be with a healthy Levis, a Henry or Spears or both, D-Hop, and a wide receiver to be named at a later date.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for what this offense could be after watching Tim Kelly call this game.
Now, Darren says, Henry was vintage today. My boy was great, but it's still time to move on. And there's going to be a lot of that conversation. And look, we have next week, the whole rest of January, all of February, and half of damn March before free agency decisions will be final and made when Derrick Henry's in the open market, because the Titans do have the ability to control where he goes by signing him to an extension before free agency begins in March. And then what does Derrick Henry want to do? That's something to think about as well. I want to get to a couple super chats before we continue here on our post-game show here presented by our friends at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, AmandaJGentry.com, wherever justice demands. Chris says, Henry still looked like he's lost a step. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that big run, though,
Yes.
he was really moving.
Yeah, but he like Derrick Henry in 23 broken foot. Derrick Henry scores that, houses it.
Sure.
Andre Cisco doesn't catch him. He breaks the angle of Cisco. I think Derrick Henry has still lost a step, but
what's to be expected for an NFL running back that's turned 30 years old? You know, he's not going to be but he's still at the back end of his prime. And there, with a good offensive line, I know there's another 1,500-yard season in Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Remy says, not a good win. Thanks, D-Hop. Thanks, Derrick. Should have happened way before. Tanny's still bad to me. What are we talking about? So Remy, mad. The Titans won today, 28-20. I think it's just fair to ask this question. Should we just ask the question, are you glad or mad that the Titans won this game? Glad or mad? I like the rhyming with that. Are you glad or mad the Titans won this game because of the potential draft loss? And so we'll talk about that potential draft loss. So glad or mad here on the show. At first, I'll tell you guys about our friends at Jarrett Companies. Jarrett HVAC and Plumbing is where you should turn whenever you need some help with your HVAC system or maybe your plumbing system. Full service HVAC and plumbing from installation to repairs. Jarrett handles it all with skilled technicians. Jarrett's team is certified, experienced, and ready to tackle any challenge. Preventative maintenance is always important with your HVAC and plumbing, and that's where Jarrett has plans that are affordable to keep your systems smooth and running efficiently year-round. And a low cost, since it's locally owned and operated, a customer-centric approach is where Jarrett is not satisfied until you are. So for any of your HVAC and plumbing needs, JarrettCompanies.com. That's JarrettCompanies.com. Normally, during our Jarrett Companies segment, we talk about either the AFC South standings or the draft order. And so we'll do that now. So we ask, are you happy or are you sad or glad the Titans won this game? So sad or glad, Jack? What's everybody saying there in the comments?
Deshaun's going to start us off on YouTube right now with glad. Derrick not even playing the game, but he's going full ecstatic on us. I like that. Dre Wilson says glad. Kaz says glad. Brandon says mad. G-Mad. Excuse me. Hunter says mad, I guess. Ed Rogers says sad. He's playing a new game as well. But I think sad, there's going to be some sads in here, I believe. Glad from Matt. Glad from Jody. Glad from Sin City. We have David checking in with mad. We have Craig at glad. Glad from Kendrell. Where's J Rome? I want to read J Rome's comment. I'm glad. I'm a real fan. I hear you. I hear you, J Rome. I hear you. Ethan says glad. Steve agrees. So does Jake. So does Brock. Isaac also feeling glad today. Only glad for Henry, Anthony Clay says. I am glad for Henry as well. Glad from Tighten Up. Glad from Mike. Glad from Alex says glad. Clement says glad. There's way more glads in this chat than mads. And I think that's a little frustrating about Titan social media right now is because it feels like there's more mads that are vocal online than there are. I think there's an overwhelming majority of Titans fans that are glad after this win, and for great reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the ones that are mad are a little bit louder about it, and that kind of changes your perspective on just where the fan base stood heading into today's game.
Yeah, today we've been at Acme and we've been talking. There was a group in here that are from Canada. There's a group in here that were from Buffalo. There were Bills fans. They were very happy to see the Titans win because that clinches the Bills playoff spot even before the Dolphins game tonight. But the Canadian fans, like, why? Like, what's kind of going on? Like, why is the stadium empty back there? And it's because, it's the last game of the season. We kind of had to explain all that to somebody that's not understanding it. It's like, well, the Titans are winning. Is that good? And I was like, I mean,
hard to say.
Yeah, and so Jack, obviously you crown yourself Tighten Up podcast that you guys do every week with Austin Huff. You are very glad that you get to experience a Titans win on the way out because the Titans don't play another meaningful football game for 9 months, and that sucks. Now, me, I am not you. I am not you guys. I have a different relationship with this team. I truly don't know how I feel. And I really won't know how I feel until the rest of these afternoon games play out because the Titans are going to stay at 7th. Even if the Chargers and the Giants win today, I don't think the Titans are going to be able to move up. And
that makes you feel a little better, doesn't it? If you were upset with the win because of the draft pick, if the cards don't fall in your favor, I'm disappointed that you don't get to really enjoy this one and really let this one sink in like the way you should.
Yeah, so I know this from Sam's work. So I just put scenario 2 up on the board because the Chargers have slightly an easier schedule than the Titans do, which gives the Chargers the pick ahead of the Titans. So let's, instead of Titans lose, Chargers lose, let's just say both of those are wins, right? And so both teams have 6 wins and the Chargers can beat the Chiefs. You still need the Giants, the Cardinals to win, and the Cowboys and the Bills to win because that makes the Titans' strength of schedule worse or easier. And so this scenario can still play out. Now, it's not going to get you the 4th overall pick, but it could flip you up to 6th. So I guess, how do you get the 6th pick? You need the Cowboys to win and the Bills to win to get the Tennessee Titans to the 6th pick, I believe. Right there, because that's how the strength of schedule would play out.
We also need the Chargers to lose.
No, the Chargers to win.
Chargers
to win, Bills to win, and Cowboys to win.
Yeah,
I will have to confirm with Sam, and I do know Sam is going to have, once Sam gets out of the locker room across Nissan Stadium, I know he's going to do a draft pick order article shortly, but I believe that is correct.
How about this, Austin?
Yeah.
The tiebreaker goes with strength of schedule, right?
Yes.
The Titans right now sit here with 0.524. You know what's separating them from the Chargers? 1/1000th of a decimal point. Chargers that have 5.25 strength of schedule. So that'll be interesting to monitor. I encourage all of you guys to pull up Tankathon after these 3 o'clock games go final.
So as of right now, the Titans have an easier strength of schedule.
Right.
But if the Chargers need to win, right?
If the Chargers win, I feel pretty good about getting the 6th pick.
Okay. That does feel correct.
Mhm.
I feel like that absolutely can happen. All right, so go Chargers, go, as the former governor of the state of California.
Go Chargers, go.
Go Chargers, go. Okay, all right. A to Z Sports here live at Acme on the roof of Acme Feed and Seats. Shout out Spirited Hive and Ranch Water for game day specials through this entire season of our Titans home game broadcast. Big audience here on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button overall. Jack, it is now time for us to grade the quarterback play and grade Ryan Tannehill's performance. I will go ahead and read off Ryan Tannehill's stats today. Ryan Tannehill was 17-26 for just 168 yards, 2 touchdown passes, 1 pick, it was a bad pick, sacked twice, a quarterback rating of 93. So 168, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He did not run the ball outside of 3 beautiful victory formation kneels.
Oh, yeah.
So
missing those.
grading Ryan Tannehill's performance. We'll get to your comments here, but first I want to tell you guys all about Chim Chimney. Wherever you need for your chimney, that's where you should go. chim-chimneyinc.com is their website. Chim Chimney has all of your chimney needs set up right there in one spot. I've had Chim Chimney come out to my home, and when we moved in November, had them come in December to make sure our fireplace, our chimney, our dryer vents, everything was checked out in the new home. So we're ready to go. Working on getting the gas logs installed this month, Jack.
All right.
Yep. And we know what we need because Chim Chimney got us covered with the inspection. Everything's clean. Everything's ready to roll. Just got to get the gas logs in there with Chim Chimney, and they can be a part of your home and your life too. chim-chimneyinc.com. So the grades, I'll let you to it.
Yeah, this feels a little weird to me. This is going to be the last time we're grading Ryan Tannehill as a Titans starting quarterback. We're going to start on Facebook this time. Jake Hughes says C+. Hunter Boyd says B. Alex is right there with him, as is John. Continuing to scroll, we've got Mr. Robinson checking in with a C-. Kendrell says B-. Nick says C. J-Dub C+. Jared Gibson B-. So is Zinzi. C as in Sia from Tighten Up, Ohio. Pretty clever. Michael Kennedy says B- on YouTube. Going back to YouTube, we got Mike with a B+. J. Rome says C. Classic Tannehill game, B-. Goes back to your one word, vintage. This did feel vintage Tannehill a little bit. Outside of a missed finger roll. That was the only thing we were really missing from vintage Tannehill today.
True.
Ed, I don't know what we're talking about here. Ed's at an F+. B- from Rodney, B from Roscoe. Preston says C. Bork's at a B-. Titans 5327 at a B+. Derek C+. A for Blake Mitchell. He's grading on a curve for 5 solid years. He says, thanks, Tan. Jesse Cook and Kalen both at B's. Austin, it's hard for me to grade this performance because I feel like in a loss, he'd go down from like a B to a B-, C to a C-, D to a D-, somewhere in that range. But because they won, and because it was his last time as a Titans quarterback winning in Nissan Stadium, I'm going to give him some help. I think he played a B+ game today.
B+.
You know what? And the interception was really bad. Really, it was a bad throw, but an even worse decision. But he was able to throw 2 touchdowns, and the way the offense was looking, and yes, Tim Kelly had a big part to play in that with some of his interesting play calls, and Chig did a lot of work after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
D-Hop made a nice one-hand catch.
Couple.
So he got some help. But he did enough. He scored 21 points in the first half, Austin.
Yeah.
That's happened once this season against Cincinnati, and a team, really Cincinnati Bengals team that was reeling early in the season with a banged-up Joe Burrow and, a new offensive line and a defense that's, a little patchy. But today I think Ryan Tannehill played a B+ game, and he's a big reason why we're sitting here talking about a Titans win.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, 2 touchdown passes in this game. Now, would you have liked to see him not throw a pick at that second to last possession?
Sure.
Because that's where you're like, here we go again, right? Because you come out of the gates from the locker room and to start the third quarter, and boom, 4-play, 75-yard touchdown drive from Derrick Henry's 69-yard run. And then it was a 3-and-out punt, 5 plays through the interception, and then 8 plays and a punt. And that was the last possession, right? They need down at the end of the game, but that doesn't necessarily count. So the interception is really the only mistake that Tannehill made. Maybe he was behind the throw on a throw to Chig on third down. He could have had a drop, or he did have a drop from Chris Moore that could have been a completion earlier in that game. I think the interception was not as bad as it looked. It was a two-man route, max protection, play action, and that was the only place for Tannehill to throw, who was under duress at the time he released it. It was a bad throw. The decision I was okay with. It was a bad throw. It was a late throw. I think it could have been better if DeAndre Hopkins could have shut down his route more and turn. That's a hard communication thing to make there on the fly, because there was a safety sitting there playing center field on that post. So you say B plus. I agree. I'm gonna have to go B plus for Ryan Tannehill. I really like the game he played today, and I thought Tannehill did a great job of standing tough in there and delivering the ball down the field. He made a couple really nice throws to Kyle Phillips. Again, Traylon Burks was a no-show. It's been like that for a while, but I think Tannehill B plus for his performance today going out.
I want to answer Brandon's question on YouTube. He asked, did Tanny win it or did Trevor botch it? And I think it's a great question to ask. And I'm sure the chat has plenty of opinions. Great question, Brandon Dozier. But for me, I'm gonna go off the script. I'm gonna have a right answer.
Okay.
I think Derrick Henry won this football game for the Titans today. I think that he did not let up on the Jags defense. Had a couple of big runs. Could have had a couple of more touchdowns if it weren't for just a few yards and him being off the field for the plays they scored on. But I think that Derrick Henry won that football game. But I believe it's a fantastic question because you can answer it three different ways. And I think that there's a case to be made that Trevor Lawrence botched it. I mean, that's your franchise quarterback. Can't get a first down with 2 minutes left, and you need a score to tie. That's the guy that are you sure? You're sure about that guy? I'm not sure. I wouldn't be sure about that guy if I was a Jags fan. So I think it's a good question, and I think you could make a case that Trevor Lawrence did botch this.
I think it's a great question. Like the show on Facebook and like the show on YouTube. Nice audience here on Facebook and YouTube at Acme Feed and Seed, Spirited Hive, and Ranch Water specials here at Acme on the rooftop during all Titans home games. You want to go to the chat because there's I see a lot of Trevor Lawrence botched.
Yeah, there's plenty of Trevor Lawrence botched. In fact,
Koss says no, the pretty boy blew it.
Yeah, see, Kaika says Trevor won this game for the Titans. Bobby says Trevor botched it. Chris agrees that Trevor lost it. Roy, kind of with me. Derrick Henry won the game. We got Trevor botched it from Darren. Lance says Spears was the one who won the game today. He was effective. I don't know if he won the game for the Titans, though.
Hey, 2 touchdowns.
More Trevor Lawrence botched it in the chat. Plenty of Trevor Lawrence botched it. And like I said, and like I mentioned, we were talking about the Titan Up podcast when we discussed this week. I think that there's going to be a lot of ruckus down in Jacksonville in Delusional County right now.
Sure.
With the way Trevor Lawrence played. Another game in which turnovers are a big issue for him. 2 picks on the day, and there probably could have been more.
I think if you're putting both quarterbacks on the table for this question, did Ryan Tannehill win the game or did Trevor Lawrence botch it? Between the two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence botched it. How many times did we see a ball on third down just airmailed to the receiver in the flats out of bounds?
Yeah,
it happened like 4 times.
And he had a chance. Ridley was open deep, and he couldn't hit him. It was as close as it comes, but it's an incomplete pass, and it's the reason why you aren't playing extra football over there right now.
Billy Jones just says, "Hey Trevor, why the long face?"
Man.
No, Billy, you said that. I didn't say it. I was just reading comments. Billy said that. That wasn't me. What are you talking about? All right, so look, the Jags have to be just in absolute pain right now. The Titans know they've been living in pain for a while, but come on, come hang out with the Titans and Jags. So I think Trevor Lawrence lost the game for the Jags. I don't think your boy C.J. Beathard would have done any better, though.
I know.
I think this
maybe.
I think this was a game the Titans are going to win because of how they played. The overall answer is the Titans dictated the game.
Facts.
Not the Jags. The Titans got after the Jags, punched them in the mouth early, scored a touchdown. Look, the Titans defense is the number 1 defense in the red zone. I've been saying it all year because you can't give up explosive plays in the red zone. There's just not enough yards, but they force field goals in the red zone. Think about it. It's 2 field goals in the red zone allowed today. So that's 2 big stops plus the 4th and short stop. There's 3 or 4 red zone stops by this Titans defense today. And who's the starting safety back? Like you can't even name half the defensive linemen playing out there because Jeffrey Simmons isn't hurt. or isn't out there. Jack Gibbons isn't playing. Who's the linebacker next to Aziz? I don't know. I watched the whole game. I couldn't 54, but like, right, Terrell Edmonds.
Terrell Edmonds had a big pick today.
Terrell Edmonds has the same amount of interceptions with the Titans as Kevin Byard does with the Eagles. The Titans win the trade.
How about this for your bend don't break stat of
Yeah.
the week here? The Jags had a great day on third down. They were 8 for 14 on the day, but the Titans defense stood up when it matters. They refused to break. On fourth down, the Jags went 0 for 3. In the red zone, the Jags only went 1 for 3. That's a team that's playing inspired football in a game where they had nothing to win, nothing to play for. So in the goal line stop, Mike Vrabel's teams always have that attitude in the front.
Yeah.
Whether it's against the Chargers a few years ago, there's a game every year where a goal line stand makes a difference in the football game. Today, they waited a while to do it, but today was the day.
Yeah. Otis Reese was out there playing a lot of linebacker. Those some guys are naming these.
And he got banged up.
Yeah. Now Johnny on YouTube saying Lawrence lost the game for the Jags is disrespectful to Henry and Spears. And we're not trying to do that, but I think Johnny maybe popped in mid-conversation that if you're putting the two quarterbacks next to each other, Trevor Lawrence lost the game more than Ryan Tannehill won it. But as I said, and as Jack, you agreed, the Titans dictated today's game. The Titans overall won the game. And it's an interesting thing because Remy comes back with another super chat. Remy was mad the Titans won the game. He says, let's see what Vrabel does. You won. Are you still going to change stuff up? I mean, yeah, you better. Even though you won today, you're still 6 out of your last 24 games.
And today's loss,
6-18.
I mean, today's win, this result really doesn't matter big picture for Mike Vrabel.
No.
Like, you have an entire body of work this season, last season, the years before it got bad. You've got an entire body of work to go off of. A win or a loss today doesn't really move the needle in those conversations they're going to have in the building. And I'm in a bad mood because the Chiefs just ran a fumble back for a 97-yard touchdown.
Oh, wow.
The Chargers are not doing their job for the Titans.
No, in fact, the opposite. No, Christine has the name of the other linebacker that we couldn't come up with. It's the same thing Jags fans are doing right now.
Wallow, that's right.
Yeah, all right. You got that one. All right, so let's go ahead and get to Adventure Science Center, the winning formula here for the last time on this season. And Jack, I think we have a first. But first, let me tell you guys about Adventure Science Center. All of our friends at Adventure Science Center, a phenomenal way for your family to have a lot of fun, a great educational experience for your kids. So go get a membership to Adventure Science Center this winter. AdventureSCI.org. AdventureSCI.org is where to go get that gift card. And it's not just for the kids. Adults can go, and every third Thursday of the month, starting in just a couple of weeks, every third Thursday of the month, starting January 18th, it's adult night only at Adventure Science Center. So a lot of different type of scientific experiments, maybe some adult 18 and up things you can do. I've been to 21 and up events at Adventure Science Center, which was fantastic back in the fall. AdventureSCI.org for your membership at Adventure Science Center. Jack, I think we have a first. I think we have a first this season.
Clean sweep today?
I think the Titans just swept Mike Vrabel's formula to a victory. Have the most rushing yards. The Titans ran for 175. The Jags ran for 82. Win the turnover battle. I believe that was 2-0, right?
Well, no, because Tannehill threw that one pick.
2-1.
So it's 2-1.
2-1. The Titans win the turnover battle 2-1. So they're 2-0 right there. And then the quarterback rating, Ryan Tannehill, 93.1. Trevor Lawrence, 81.5. The Titans swept the winning formula for Mike Vrabel. Is this the last game for Mike Vrabel as a head coach too, sweeping his formula? I don't know.
To be determined. But how about that? Ryan Tannehill with a better quarterback rating than Trevor Lawrence. A guy that the Titans want no part of in being on this football team next season had a better quarterback rating in a win-or-go-home game than Jacksonville's face of the franchise. I'm sure it's great for Tannehill, and I'm happy for Tannehill, and I love that he got to go out this way. But, man, I mean, the Jags' pain is going to be brutal. This is a loss that you're not going to forget. It's going to take you weeks to get over, and you're going to be talking about it randomly when you start to remember that preseason's coming up in August. It's a loss that's going to linger, and that is very important as the Titans try and regain that seat at the top of the division next season.
Yeah, no doubt. Austin Tucker on YouTube says, hey, what's the bingo looking like? I'm glad you asked because today also got ourselves a Titan bingo. Shout out Mint Gaming Hall. See, here's the good thing, Jack, and I told you this because I did some tinkering with the bingo card this morning to put the Henry touchdown versus the Jags to give us that bingo. But for our guy Eldon out there who called it fake bingo at halftime, Eldon, if I didn't touch it today, the Titans would have gotten that because home division win was in that same box. So there's our bingo. So what does that mean? It means keep an eye out. And I haven't even filled in the other ones because we got division win and home division wins. So there's a couple more check marks that need to go on the bingo card. But keep an eye out on our social media because we'll put a post together for somebody to win $200 from the Mint Gaming Hall right there for us hitting Titan Bingo the last game of the season, just like last season too.
Yeah, no, the bingo board was electric to follow today. I'm glad that they took care of business early with the Henry touchdown. And it felt like a day where, you know what, if you have Henry down there in the low red, it's probably best to just hand it to him. But he let us know from the first carry of the ball game that he came to play today. I tweeted out a video of Omar from The Wire. For anybody who's watched The Wire, Derrick Henry showed up to work today like Omar does. When you start to hear that whistle, you know Omar's coming. Derrick Henry showed up to play today.
A couple more super chats for us to head out the door with. Let's see. Stanley Wilson says, I want to invite all Jaguars fans to a place I call the sit your ass down on the couch place.
Let's go, Stanley.
Oh, that's funny.
I love that.
And then Remy, I don't know. It's a super chat. Remy paid for it. I don't know what it means. Wishy-washy fans is why. I don't know why. But there you go. But look, Jack, this has been a phenomenal season for us, even though it wasn't a phenomenal season for the Titans behind us. But shout out to Acme, Spirited Hive, Ranch Water for being a part of all the home games for Jack and I to be down here on the rooftop. It's an incredible place to come watch a Titans game. Hopefully we can do it again next season in 2024. But Acme's been phenomenal.
Amazing.
When the garage door is up, there is no better place to watch a Titans game if you're not in the stadium than right here at Acme. And even when the garage is down, it's nice and toasty in here. You got free TVs watching 3 different games right now. So shout out to Spirited Hive and Ranch Water to go along with Acme for that. And also want to give one last shout out to all of our great Titan Game Day sponsors and partners because Jack, I know you and Sam for a lot of games, me and Sam, we've switched it up, kept it fresh. Adventure Science Center, Jarrett Companies, Chim Chimney, BetMGM, Mint Gaming Hall, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, and X Golf Nashville. Big shout out to them. And Jack, anything else for you as we wrap up this Titan Game Day season?
Look, there's over 150 of you guys in here right now, and for a team
that's a low number,
and that is a low number. But for a team that's 6-11, for you guys to show up week in and week out with us and talk about the good wins, talk about the terrible losses, it's been a lot of both. Well, mostly the latter this season. But we appreciate you guys for showing up. Acme's been an incredible host, and Austin, you know what I'm excited about?
What's that?
The Titans are $75 million in a good draft class away from looking forward to 365 days from now and playing a game in mid-January. So it's just that close. If everything breaks right, I can't wait for next year.
This offseason is still going to be great. Like I've been juiced up for about a month and a half. Once we knew this season was dead, Jack, and I want to say it felt like it was dead when the Colts came in here and blocked 2 punts.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, done.
Pull
right?
the plug.
But from that point on, I started to get excited about what the offseason can be, what the future looks like with Will Levis. We'll see what happens with Derrick Henry, the cap space, the coaching rumors with Mike Vrabel, the tension rumored and reported with Rand Carthon. I don't know what any of it means, but I do know that Buck Rising's working on that at Nissan Stadium right now. Sam Phelan's out there working on draft order articles for the website too. We've got our social team, Jake Evans and Parker Mosley, Matt Malone doing a great job, Adam Holt too, and then you and I and Zach Bingham that we'll see Monday morning. A hell of a season for us. I hope it was a great, entertaining ride for you guys, and that'll do it for us from Acme. Once again, thank you to all of our great partners here on Titan Game Day Live. One last time from Acme, hit that like button on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Buck is live tonight. A to Z Sports Primetime should be a fiery one, and Black Monday happens around the NFL tomorrow morning. So we'll see you guys at 8. Thanks as always. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.